Hey everyone, it's me, the Ferb Guy, and I love the art of cinema. It's a big inspiration towards me. I grew up with a bunch of movies as a kid and a teen and now an adult. I love movies. It's one of the best things to come from the art of pictures and motion, combining them both into motion pictures. And much like everyone else on the internet that counts down their list of favorite movies of all time, I'm going to join in on the band as well. So, I am going to do the top 20, screw it, the top 40 list of my favorite movies. Now, as you can tell by the title down here, this is going to be an 8-part series. So, 5 movies per 1 part, which in total makes 40, which makes about 8 episodes. So you'll have yourself a multi-parter, and basically the only reason why I'm doing these multi-parters is because I am busy with projects I can't disclose right now. I've also have myself a job that I just recently got, so I'll be very busy. So it's the reason why this is going to be an 8-part series. And then probably the rest of the year is going to be mostly honored towards honorable mentions for Movie Fridays. But moving on, let's set some ground rules for this one. First things first, I can't do multiple films that are in the anime category, because anime movies can be their own list. Like, anime, it's a massive project. I mean, all these big anime movies names, even small ones, big ones, fat ones, short ones, skinny ones, they're all over the place. So I'm going to essentially keep all the anime movies limited. It has to be an inspiration towards me, like a big reason why it exists, why I saw it and liked it. So that's going to be a big rule. So limit the anime. And another thing is, leave out anything of this current decade until about another 10 years pass. Then I can do an updated version with all the films from this year. So basically this is going to be one big list, and even if I was to do films like from this decade, we'd be here forever. And as always, since more and more and more movies are coming out, this list is going to be in as-is condition. So whatever film that I mention in this 8-part series basically will switch over time. And if I do another list of favorite movies to update it, then that's going to be another story in of itself. But I'm not looking over there. So now that we have the ground rules set up for this list, gear up and get ready for each month. I am going to be doing the top 40 list of my favorite movies. So with that in mind, let's get this party started! Number 40. The Warriors. Yeah, off to a good start, aren't we? From 1979, this cult classic centers around a gang that winds up going to this big sort of conference of all these gang members that are in, like, subdivisions of New York City. So one of the big gangs is hosted by Cyrus, and he offers the whole group a treaty to try and outrun the police, be one big, huge gang to outrun the law. But unfortunately, somebody kills them, as the Warriors are set up for the crime they didn't commit, as they have to head back to their home in Coney Island and have to fight their way through this whole thing. But also try and figure out who did it. Why are we blamed for all of this? Now, this movie is completely insane. There are moments where there's the Warriors fighting against a huge elite of gang members, even small-timers, for instance. There's other portions where there's just quiet moments. And there's just an interesting atmosphere that comes with this movie that it's really hard to describe. Like, there's a broadcaster that sends her signal out towards other street members talking about, like, what's big, what's hip, and what's going on with the gang members. Like, she's on not only to set up the records and everything, playing certain songs to play with the situations that happen in the movie, but also bring the updates on, like, what the Warriors have done to previous gangs and all that. Like, they beat up the baseball Furies, so she makes puns related to baseball, and it's crazy. But with the Warriors in mind, even with, like, the crazy editing and the cinematography, which still makes me want to go to New York, the music for its time is good. It's basically a 70s movie with a story of just guys trying to get back to their home while surviving whatever comes their way. It's an interesting premise. I mean, the only reason it's 40 on this list is because, well, it's simple, yet enjoyable, but it also could be one of those, like, entertaining popcorn flicks. Like, you just have a bag of popcorn, you turn on the TV and have that movie on and just kick back and relax and all of that. So basically The Warriors is one fascinating story on gangs and everything. But while The Warriors is a popcorn flick, I just find it to be just enjoyably hammy, but hammy to a point where I could just be just smiling and enjoying just how the action is and just the dialogue that all these characters in the film are just saying. It's just, overall, The Warriors is just one big popcorn flick that is enjoyable. Though they do actually have a video game made by Rockstar, which is kind of fascinating to say the very least.
Number 39.
Labboy. Yes. Whenever you think of the movies, you think of the Scottish outlaw Robert Roy McGregor, played by the great Liam Neeson. And when you think Liam Neeson, you automatically think Robert Roy McGregor. So the basic plot for this one takes place in 1700, right around that period, where Robert Roy McGregor is accused by a nobleman for something he didn't commit, and it's basically him trying to prove that he is innocent, and the city, sort of a little village that he runs, has to prove them innocent and find a way to stop the noblemen from hunting them down and exterminating them. What I like about the movie is all the scenic area of Ryle, Scotland, to give the authenticity of the old times. It just looks so beautiful, so pretty. I just really love it so much. But also a big thing is the cast, like Liam Neeson, John Hurt, Tim Roth. I love Liam Neeson's performance as Robert Roy McGregor. I mean, it looks like he was meant to play the character. Yet there's, like, many people that don't really talk about this one. Why is that? Sadly, the movie came out around the same time as another movie. I'm pretty sure you've heard of this one before. Braveheart? Mel Gibson? Anyone? But yeah. Pretty much, Rob Roy here was unfortunately overcasted by Mel Gibson's other biopic, which It's sad because really Rob Roy is a great masterpiece. Like, probably one of the best adventure sort of biography drama that you can get in this genre. I mean, other than Schindler's List, which he also did, pretty much he does a wonderful job as Rob Roy, and I love John Hurt and Eric Schultz's characters. Like, they're actually sort of fun to hear them talk, and just all kinds of just fun you can get out of it, but also the tight suspense you have, the tight feeling that is Robert Roy McGregor going to get out of this situation alive. It's just a great film. This film should not be one of the ones that's lost in time and forgotten. It's just worth it. Number 38. 12 Angry Men. So, how many people were introduced to this movie because of Robot Chicken? I was. But outside of this Robot Chicken reference leading me to actually view this movie from my point of view in high school and everything, what do I think of it? Well, I'll be honest. 12 Angry Men is an impressive film. An ideology of what if one person can actually make a difference, make people think outside, think differently instead of one-minded, agreeing with everyone, each having their own point of view, maybe agreeing with the other side, thinking it through for a while. And that's the tale here in 12 Angry Men, where, of course, 12 members of the jury are brought in as they have to decide of their verdict for a man that is guilty of murder. 11 people saying that he is guilty, but one person is not believing it. So it's basically hours on end, stuck in one whole room as they discuss whether or not the kid is guilty or not, even analyzing other portions of the scene of the crime, thinking it through, sort of overanalyzing it, if you will. And that's really what 12 Angry Men is. It's sort of the idea of really thinking outside the box, really analyzing everything. We all go into this world assuming everyone's done this or done that, or they're this type of people, like this person who I don't even know or probably isn't is a fan of Stockholm. I don't even know what the hell Stockholm is, but that's just an example. I interrupt my own review to actually apologize for this. While filming the video, I did not realize that the thing was called Homestuck. Apologies if I had offended anyone by my mistake in the name of it. I did not realize that, so yeah, deepest apologies, everyone. Deepest apologies. You got a great cast of really good actors like Henry Fonda and Lee J. Cobb, Ed Bergley, and Jay Klugman. I could be saying that name wrong, but I don't care. If anything, this is the best court drama to come out within over 60 years. It holds a true testament, and to add authenticity to this whole thing, this whole movie takes place, at least for the entirety of the movie, there's only 3 minutes of the film that doesn't take place in one room, but the whole film is in this one room. No change of setting or anything. It's all this one room, which is basically a perfect setting, and even for, like, certain high temperatures, the title, 12 Angry Men, it really kicks it into... It really holds that pressure that these men, because of the straining heat of the summer weather or whatever, and the fact they don't know the fans are and the fact that the fans in the room aren't working, this basically riles them up. It gets them angry. It really shows that 12 Angry Men is much more than a simple court story, but it's how one person can make a difference for the judgment of one's life, and even change the points of view from one person to the next. It's really great, well put together, acted. The setting, albeit in one whole room, is still worth it either way. I just absolutely love 12 Angry Men. And hopefully these angry men can give themselves a little bit of a rest from being angry a lot.
Number 37.
Scarface. From director Brian De Palma and the writer of Platoon, Oliver Stone, with Al Pacino in the big role, Scarface is a remake of a 1932 movie that, I'll be honest, I've never seen the 32 version of Scarface, and honestly, if you were to just look at this film alone, not knowing it was a remake of a movie, you'd see it as its own thing. You don't even, compare and contrast between one another. It stands as its own thing. The same can be said for a lot of other films that fall under this same category, that I can't even remember the name, but there are a couple of them. But with this tale, Al Pacino stars as a Cuban refugee, Tony Montana, that travels into Miami during the 80s. It's from there that he decides he wants to be the kingpin, the almighty drug lord, the man that rules with an iron fist, the richest man there is, and will do anything to get that power. I also love how it sort of dives into the ideology of the rise and downfall of a person. The main beginning is, their slow rise, and then the high peak of the movie is their big fame and fortune, and then all of it goes downhill from there. And that's basically one of those tales, but it's done in a very special way that, honestly, I could just watch this film over and over and just get a lot of enjoyment out of it. A lot of scenes that are so memorable, quotes, and you gotta love that track at the very middle of the movie, Push it to the limit. Walk along a razor's edge. But don't look down, just keep your head or you'll be finished. That montage with that song, oh God. That scene and that song is going to be stuck in my head until I die. With it, I also enjoy the setting of it taking place in the 80s. Of course, all of it is authentically filmed during that time, which really makes it stand out among the other settings of this movie, but also I gotta love how the acting is with Al Pacino. He is meant to play Tony Montana. And this isn't his first time that he's ever dabbled into gang films. I mean, he's been in these movies here. But, with all honesty, Scarface is probably one of my favorite gangster movies there is, other than possibly a few others that'd be on this list, but we'll get to that when we get to that. But in general, Scarface is a really brilliant film, and probably one of the best gangster movies to come out in ages.
Number 36.
Seven Brides for Seven Brothers. If you were to catch me at a right time or the right mood, I'd be interested in musicals. And who couldn't? It's the best of both worlds. I mean, not only can you get really colorful, vibrant designs and characters and everything, but you could also wind up having yourself some memorable songs that will be stuck in your head for months on end. I mean, with the recent one that just came out, La La Land from 2016, which is 3 years ago, wow. But with earlier musicals, you could easily find a lot of enjoyment with something like this. The film takes place in the 1850s and follows one of the 7 brothers in the movie named Adam, who winds up getting himself hitched with a new wife named Millie. And basically Adam takes Millie into the massive house of where the 7 brothers live on the countryside, and basically they're a bunch of rowdy brothers that don't know self-manners or anything, so it's basically up to Millie to teach them some manners and make them as gentlemen as possible if they're wanting to get wives, much like how Adam got Millie. And oh, what a fantastic journey this funny musical movie is. I mean, it really stands out with a lot of comedy and a lot of humor. I mean, there's a lot of memorable stuff in this film other than the music. Because in all honesty, with there being the music, there's gotta be something else, is there? There's a scene where they're out at a barn raising competition and you see like a whole massive group of women and men dancing, and you see all this lovely choreography and a lot of the stunts they do in the movie. It's so powerful, but there can even be fun with it other than the dancing. There's one moment where they're raising the barn and the brother and the other people that are jealous of the brothers and take advantage of them, and they just get into this big massive fight between one another. Like, there's just so much fun with this, it's hard to explain into all this video. You just need to see it for yourselves. It's just imaginative, it's fun, vivid, the songs are memorable, and I could never get the whole dance sequence out of my head. It's too much fun for one person to handle, but it's the perfect amount of fun that can make Seven Brides for Seven Brothers a memorable wedding, to say the very least. And so that concludes part 1 of what will be an 8-part series of my top 40 favorite movies. Now, it is a lot to go through, but again, if I were to do this all in one go and have the video be released, we'd be here forever. So, it's easy for me to at least try this out, release a whole 5 movie reviews into one whole video, and then have that released. So, it's just, I hope you understand of what I'm going at with this. So, I've already explained in introduction, but once the new part comes out, I will post the end slate right here for it, and if you want to take a look at all the previous Movie Fridays I have discussed, then right up here alongside the next video, which will appear next month, I will show you guys the next part of the favorite movies list. But just click up here and check out the next part of the video. So yeah, that's about it, and I hope you like what you're seeing here, you want to see more, and interested in the excitement of the top 40 favorites movies list, then stick around, subscribe, hit the bell, do all that ding dong that YouTube is doing, because something's wrong with their service. But see you later.